Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, magandang umaga. Kamusta? Aking maga kabagan. Maraming salamat for coming by and checking out my video. Thank you guys very much for the subscriptions. I now just passed 800 subscriptions or subscribers. So I just need my 200 more, and I'll be a-okay. Get my YouTube partnership, what I've been working on for about the past 5 months. They are right now playing a playoff between Daniel Dubov and Magnus Carlsen to see who gets that spot for the finals. Everything is already done to show you guys like what the standings look like. You see Wesley so Maxime Vachier-Lagrave tied up at the top, and we're good to go. So get rid of that. And as always, for those of you who haven't subscribed yet, please do. Appreciate it very much. And for anybody who is from Poland, Chest. I believe that's how you say hello. Hopefully I'm saying it correctly. If not, feel free to correct me. My languages are a growing process. So at the end of the day, I'm constantly working, constantly trying to improve. So, that's where I get my fine tuning and my tweaking from. Everybody that are, native of certain languages, when I'm saying something incorrectly, they'll correct me and I don't get mad. It helps me improve because I want to be as accurate as possible when I'm speaking. Also, when you leave me comments or if you leave me a thumbs down, please let me know why you did so. Because I don't like for people to just put the thumbs down and then I don't get any feedback because there's something maybe that I have that I can fix if you just let me know about it. So I appreciate it very much. But if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and jump in this game and see what we have. All right, so we got D4, got knight to F6. We got C4, G6, knight to C3, bishop to G7. We have E4. Now, this is coming through as a King's Indian defense orthodox, but I personally know it as a modern or a Peart's. Usually, you're going to have like E4, D4, knight to F3, knight to C3 without C4. And then you're just going to be kind of like in a Peart's type of structure or like a modern situation going on. So we do see D6. So as you can see, it's pretty much the Peart's with the exception of the C-pawn. So we have knight to F3. We got castles by black, bishop to E2, knight B to D7. We got castles. We got E5, bishop to E3. We got C6. We got D5, C5. Okay, cool. So this is a very, very good position for white. It's a little bit cramped for black. As you can see, black doesn't have like, a heck load of places to go. A lot of times what you'll see is you'll see like a knight retreat. Usually you'll possibly see that, or you can see a knight, to B6 and then knight to D7, and then you're going to be seeing F5 coming. Almost always you're going to see F5 in these positions because something I want you guys to know, and I'll mention it in a minute here, but there's something I want you to note about the pawn structure. I'll allude to that in a minute. So we have knight to E1, we have knight back to E8, and we have G4, and this is all standard theory. G4, it's not the most accurate, but it can be pretty useful. Sometimes, like, if you're able to push the pawn, you're able to kind of freeze the structure. Basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to avoid F5 pawn pushes. So something that was actually a little bit more accurate would have been a queen to C1, or either that or like queen to D2, just backing up this bishop, trying to see if we can trade off this pawn. Any of you guys know that play, fianchetto type structures against fianchetto structures, or maybe like, Sicilian dragons and stuff like that. You do want to get rid of that bishop because this bishop is like perfect in the defense of this king here. So you might see something like F5. We'd go F3. You see F4, not worrying about that, just backing up to F2. You see bishop to F6, queen to C2, knight to B6, and you see A3, bishop to H4, and you see B4. And like I said before, something I wanted to mention about the pawn structure is if you notice, white's pawns are pointing in this direction here. And black's pawns are pointing in this direction here. So black is going to be wanting to start pushing these pawns like this on this side. And then white is going to be doing exactly what they're doing right here and trying to push pawns on this side and open some lines and stuff. Generally, when you have like a locked pawn structure, you're going to be thinking about what direction your pawns are pointing. And that's where you're going to want to try to do some attacking and stuff like that. So like I said, we did have a knight to E8, G4, And then we have F6, which is the novelty of the game. First time this has ever been seen. It's not the most accurate. It actually gives white quite an advantage because, you know, you do want to just go F5 directly. And at the end of the day, if he did go F5 directly, you would have probably ended up with something like pawn takes, you know, F5, pawn takes F5, pawn takes F5, knight B6, king would come to H1, and you'd see bishop taking F5. And as you can see, yes, your king is open, but their king is also open as well. So it's not that bad of a situation to be in. So like I said, we did have F6, which is a little bit slow. We have king to H1, rook to F7, rook to G1. So we just kind of have a little bit of maneuvering here in this position here. So we have king to H8, we have A3, bishop to E7, and we have B4. And like I was saying before, I mean, you see that white is starting to go on the attack like I showed before. You know, they're trying to break open some lines over here so they have some kind of play. So we see B6, just trying to blunt that down a little bit. We got rook to B1, knight back to F8. We have knight to F3. We have rook to B8, and we have A4, knight to D7, and we have A5. So like I said, I mean, white is just going on this full-on attack, trying to open as many lines as possible. And they're trying to, you know, open some lines up so they maybe can double their rooks or something like that. You know, they're just trying to, the thing about when you have your rooks is you're trying to, you know, open lines because right now these rooks suck and kind of so do these. So you have to open up some space on the board so that you can, you know, get them to their full scope. So we see queen to F8. Excuse me here. I do have, my eye is still bothering me heavily. So it's getting really watery at times. It's killing me. Yeah, they never caught that gorilla that broke out of the zoo and punched me in the eye. Anyway, so we have pawn takes B6, pawn takes B6. We got queen to D2. We got queen to C, knight to C7, B5, rook to A8, and then we have rook to A1. Because you know we can't allow black to own this file here. So we have to contest that. The best way to do it is just directly to do it. So we have rook takes A1, rook takes A1. We got F5 finally coming now. So pawn takes F5. We got pawn takes F5. And we have knight to G5. And now this does allow F4. But it's not so bad of a situation. Now, Wesley So does kind of look at it and say, hey, I don't really like that. So he does sidestep with queen to C2 because, you know, we do have a check threat here. The absolute most accurate was actually to go knight takes F7 directly, winning the rest of the exchange. And then after queen takes F7, you'd see rook to A7. Pawn would take E3, queen would take E3. And then you'd have to defend the knight there. So you're going to be going knight to F6. After G5, knight F would come to E8. And then you'd see knight to A4. You know, you're just kind of trying to pick at some of these weaknesses that that black has in their position. So after queen to C2, you know, we do see knight to F6. So after bishop to D2, you know, we've protected all of our pieces. And, you know, we still have this knight, this rook. You know, that's takeable. And actually, you know, this was a situation where you actually could have done it because, you know, of course, you know, if you check somebody, they don't have the ability to, you know, do their move because they have to parry that check. So, you know, we do have bishop to D2, rook to E7, sidestepping the threat that the knight has on there. We have rook to G1, and then we have F3. Excuse me real quick. Killing me. Okay, yeah, I gotta apologize, guys. Like I'm, I still have a lot of swelling and stuff, and it's for whatever reason it wants to be super watery today. So we have bishop back to D1. We have H6. Knight takes on F3, and then we have knight takes on G4. And if you want to go ahead and stop the video here and see what white actually plays, it seems kind of scary, but it's pretty much the best possible line of play. So like I said, if you want to go ahead and pause it real quick and see what white actually plays here, go ahead real quick. Okay, cool. So the move is knight to H4. So what it does is it discovers an attack on this under-defended knight and also sets up a nice little family checkmate or family fork with the knight. Now, what it does allow is it does allow knight takes F2 with check. Now, it might, like I said, it might seem kind of scary just because it's like now you have to be you know, you have to be walking this way with your king. So we have king to G2, and then after bishop to H3 with check, we do see king to G3. And then after queen to F7, now we get our check in on G6. So we have king coming to H7. The knight takes on E7 with check. And we have E4. And like I said, I mean, this king looks like it's super exposed. So this is not normally something that would have really came up in somebody's mind immediately. You know, this, like I said, I mean, it looks like the king is like going to get checkmated really soon. I mean, you know, so that's why I think a lot of people wouldn't have really thought to go in. I don't really honestly think I would have thought to go into this because it just looks really bad. So knight does take E4. We have bishop to E5, and we don't want to go bishop here because then that's checkmate. So that would be walking into checkmate. Wesley so actually goes king to H4. And like I said, I mean, this looks insane. You know, you have all of these pieces, you know, that are hanging out around this king. It just really seems like the king is about to get mated at some point. But this is actually almost a queen's advantage compared to what we have. So we have bishop to F5. So we just go ahead and snap that off the board with knight takes F5. After queen takes F5, we do have knight takes F2. And it is actually in this position that Duda does resign. And he resigns because this queen is now actually pinned to the king. So you can't move it. So there isn't any way to capture this piece here. And then as you can see, you're literally just down 2 entire pieces. And you are down the exchange as well, as if you just want to add insult to injury. So that is really, really bad. But yeah, this is a really nicely played game, and it did knock Duda out of the knockout round for the Opera Meltwater Champions Chess Tour tournament. So we're going to be seeing the final come up, and let me just double check here, see if it's changed at all. So Magnus, it looks like he did win that, and I guess maybe I'm not sure who's advancing. I mean, you know, these first 3 are Carlsen, Vesher, Legrave, and So, but I mean, I don't know about Daniel Dubov. Like, maybe he might have to go through a playoff with somebody else or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by, coming and taking a look at my video. Appreciate you guys supporting me and stuff like that. Being patient with me because, you know, I am not at 100%. I'm in a little bit of pain actually too because this is not comfortable. So I'm doing my best to try to get these videos out. So hopefully I'm back to 100% pretty soon. So I can be good to go. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming through. Mary Ming Salamat, King Bagak Haibagan, and Pa'alam and Mabuhai. Appreciate you guys. All right.